Hello and welcome to our webinar on the product journey maps. If you struggle as a product manager to create roadmaps and keeping them updated, or if your problem is to share updates with the stakeholders, the product journey maps can be a great tool to simplify all of that. My name is Valerio Zanini. I am a product manager by experience, and I am a product management trainer. I spent my career working with large companies and small startups, driving product management, building great products. And for the last few years, I run a consulting company based in Washington, D.C., and we support organizations in learning, adopting, improving product management, AI, and agile practices. In today's speech, I would like to talk about the product journey maps, because this is a tool that I used many times in my career and has been simplifying, has been amplifying my job as a product manager in many ways. So what is a product journey map? A product journey map is a tool to create focus and alignment on the features that are the most important ones for an upcoming release, being that an MVP, minimum viable product, or a series of releases. The goal here is to validate product ideas as quickly as possible, especially in the early stages of product development, where the product or the solution is not yet fully tested with the market. We want to iterate on it as quickly as possible. The product journey map is a great tool to support all of that. I'm sharing two pictures here. I use this to create a mobile app, and I use this on a $20 million Salesforce corporate application. So the size of the project doesn't matter. It's a great tool to use for any product. Let's dive in. Why a product journey map? Well, it offers several benefits. The first one I mentioned that is focus. It creates focus, especially if you are in the early stages, you're trying to design, understand the features to test in your MVP. This is a great tool. It helps to minimize rework, because if you can create focus on what really matters, you're only going to build valuable things. You're not going to build 100 different features that you may never use or you need to rework later on. Stakeholder alignment, this is important. This is great, because stakeholders always want to know what you're working on, what's the plan, when things are coming out. Traditionally, a product manager would spend a lot of time building roadmaps, updating the roadmaps, writing a PRD, a product requirement document. All of this consumes a lot of time, and if I'm spending time doing that stuff, I'm actually not building the product. So it's kind of counterintuitive. Whereas a product journey map is a simple, easy tool. It can get updated very quickly. And for example, in my experience, years ago, I started a large enterprise project. I built a product journey map in a large conference room, and I held all of my stakeholder meetings, being sprint reviews or a status update meeting with my stakeholders. I held these meetings in their room, so everybody could look at the product journey map and they knew exactly where I was, what I was doing, what was coming up for the product, and what was not a priority for the product. So great alignment, great transparency. With AI, artificial intelligence, everything accelerates. The AI tools allow product managers to do their job much faster, in a simpler way. Prototyping, validating, testing, customer and market research, all of that is accelerated. So it's kind of counterintuitive to then write a PRD or spend too much time creating a roadmap when the work itself is accelerated. So we need a faster tool. And again, the product journey map is a great tool to support that. And finally, some people may like this or may agree with me, there is no need to write a PRD anymore. The plan is visible in the product journey map and can be updated very quickly. Everybody knows what we are doing. So how do you build a product journey map? There are 4 core steps, and then I'm going to share later some advanced tips to make it really to the next level. So step 1, you start from the core experience in your product. This is what I call the during section. Basically, what happens as the customer is using the product, and what should be their experience, what kind of features they should be using. In step 2, you list those features. In step 3, you prioritize them to understand which one of these are really important, essential, that I need to prioritize, especially for my MVP, for example, so I can test for problem solution fit or for product market fit, and which one of these are not important that I can deprioritize and they can wait for later. And then finally, you cut the map with the blue line, and that is a visual indicator of what is in the MVP and what is not. I would like to share a real life example. So let's switch tool here and instead go to Miro so we can see, we can do a simulation together and see how a product journey map comes together for a product idea. The product idea in this case, this is just an example, is called the Slim Watch. This is a wearable, is a next generation wearable, and this is a device that can monitor your health and wellness and that can keep you on track toward your goals. Think about the Fitbit or Apple Watch and so on. It's in that space. So we want to create this product, and of course it's going to be a combination between a hardware device and the software application. For the context of our conversation, I want to focus on the software app. And we're going to create a product journey map for that. So step 1 is about understanding the user steps. What are the key steps in the user experience as the user experiences the product? And I went ahead here and I identified 5 core steps in the user experience. The first one is the user configuration or personalization. So as soon as they start using the product, they are going to enter some information about themselves, about their goals and objectives, so the application can then tailor the experience to those. The second step will be to connect and to manage the data. For example, the tool could connect via Bluetooth to your phone, or maybe it could connect to your Peloton bike and then extract the data from the bike and visualize them in one dashboard. Then the next step is the activity or and exercises. This is when you actually get into action. You start running, doing physical activity, doing the steps, yoga, whatever activity you're doing, and the watch, the Slim Watch, will measure those things. And then health and wellness is about providing a dashboard where you can actually see what is going on with you. How many steps have you accomplished? What is the heart rate? What is your sleep pattern, and so on. And then finally, reminders. This is a general category of things. This is about the tool sending you reminders to keep you active. For example, this is time to go out and do a run, or this is time to go to sleep, and so on. So these are the general steps. Now, the next thing to do is to brainstorm and generate a list of features. So I've gone ahead here and I started generating some features that could support the user at each of these steps. For example, for the user configuration, they would create an account, set up personal preferences, Maybe import user info from phone. All of these are possible features that we could build into the product. For activity and exercise, we could track the heartbeat of the user, or we could track the number of steps, and so on. For welfare and wellness, we could show on the dashboard the heart rate or the temperature of the user, or maybe calculate the cycle for deep sleep. For the reminders, some ideas that we have is to buzz when it's time to work out, when it's time to go to sleep, and when it's time to wake up. So I can keep you in action. Now, this is a space on the product journey map for brainstorming. So it's about thinking about what are the possible capabilities, what are the possible features that we could build into the product. This is not yet a time to commit. It's not yet a time to decide, yes, this makes sense, this other thing doesn't. It's just about thinking about all the possible features, all the possible things that we could build inside the product. In fact, there could be more. We could add more ideas and additional features to the list here. So that was step number 2. Step number 3 is to prioritize. Not all of these are important. Not all of these are important at the same time. Some of these may be very valuable at the beginning when we want to test and validate problem solution fit or product market fit. Other features could come later in time. For example, we can say, just for the sake of example here, create an account. It's important. We need to, at the beginning, create an account and also set up personal preferences. Now, the ability to import users from user info from the phone or from the Apple Watch or from the Fitbit, this could be useful. I may not need them at the beginning for my first MVP to test whether this is a good idea or not. Similar thing to connect to Instagram. I don't think we need that. It's not necessary to test the MVP or connect to Peloton. Whereas in terms of activity and exercise, we need at least to track the heartbeat and to track the number of steps. These are table stakes. We need those. The GPS location for distance I think is very useful, very important, so you know how long did you run and where you went. The problem here is the complexity. This is relatively complex and also could be a battery drain on the Slim Watch. So I may not want to do that in the first MVP. I will prioritize that for a future release. For health and wellness, we want to show the heart rate, show the temperature, calculate the cycle for deep sleep. BMI could be a nice feature to have, but it can come in the future. So we deprioritize that. The buzz when time to work out, to go to sleep, and to wake up all make sense. These are the features. We may deprioritize them. So just visually, what I'm doing here is I'm visually indicating a few of these features are very important. They are priorities. I want to put them at the top. The other ones, they may be important, useful, but they're not priorities right now. So I'm going to put them at the bottom. And then finally, step 4, I'm going to take the blue line and I'm going to cut the map horizontally. What that does is that visually it creates a separation between the priority features and those at the bottom. And now what it tells me is the top of the map is where I'm going to focus on. This is going to be my first release or my MVP. This is what I'm going to build. That's basically my roadmap right now. The rest is coming up in a future release. So in essence, this is how a product journey map is built and how it looks. But because you're here, let's go a little bit deeper. Let's look at some advanced tips to really make it stand out. First thing I want to share is when you're building a new product, it's always useful to understand your users, of course. Who are you building that for? And you may have multiple personas. And not every persona has the same needs, and not every persona has the same importance for the success of your product. So it's good to actually clarify who are the user personas that you're focusing on, especially for your first MVP. In this example, we identified 2 user personas. The first one in green is called Fit Mary. This is a lady that wants to run a marathon in 1 year. The second one is called Couch Potato Joe, and this is a person that wants to develop better sleep pattern. So they have very different needs, very different behaviors, and understanding this will allow us to focus the product journey map on one persona versus the other and what features really matter to one or the other. The second important tip is the core hypothesis. Whenever you're building a new product, there are assumptions, there are hypotheses that you're making about the customer, the market, but especially about the product itself. About, for example, the problem-solution fit. Until you test and validate that the solution actually works and solve the problem, the whole product idea is a big assumption. So you want to call out what is the core hypothesis that you want to test with your MVP. A possible format is, if we build this smartwatch, for example, then our users will be able to improve their well-being or have their sleep pattern or their activity and so on. So we want to write that as a core hypothesis so that later, when we test the MVP with real users, we can actually check whether or not we are delivering what the hypothesis assumed at the beginning. So good call out to have these two defined first. Next, I've been talking about the during experience so far in the product journey map. And that's important. That's the core of the tool, application, the product you're building. That's important. However, we can make the argument that it's also useful to understand the pre and the post. The pre is what happens before the customer starts using the product. For example, think about you buy an iPhone, a new iPhone, you get this beautiful box. That unboxing experience before you even start using the phone, that is all part of the product. Is one of the things that made the iPhone be the iPhone today. Apple spent it all the time actually designing that unboxing experience. So you may want to think about the pre-stages in your customer experience. A couple of examples here: awareness and purchase. How does the customer get to know about this product and how do they buy it? What features do I need to build in order to support that experience? Onboarding and training. Maybe I want to, when the customer first opens the box and they start using the application, I want to have maybe a video to explain how the things works and the benefits or whatever. So I need to think about what kind of features, what kind of functionality I want to build to support that onboarding and training experience. And then the whole account management. It's not only about creating an account, but also changing the password, connecting to other accounts, all of that could be another space. So that was the pre. And then there is the post. The post is represent those stages in the customer journey that happen after the user has used the core experience of the product. An example could be support. Something breaks, I need to reach out to get support. Another example could be a renewal. There is a subscription, I need to renew that. I need to enter a credit card for payment, or I need to cancel my subscription. So all of these functionalities that are useful, are important, and they all belong to that post category. So you may want to expand your product journey map considering the pre and the post journeys, not only the during experience. because this will make your product really stand out, a much more well-designed product. Now, to add one additional point here is, where do these come from? The pre, the during, the post, all the steps in the journey map, where do they come from? They come from the customer journey map. So you may want, as you start thinking about your product, as you start researching your customers, you're doing discovery and so on, you may want to understand the customer journey map, basically the different steps the customer goes through as they try to experience the product or as they try to solve their problem. And what are the pain points at each step? What are the challenges? What are the reasons for taking those steps? So that's the customer journey map. When you have a customer journey map, then you can use those steps to start planning your product journey map. Now, not all the steps in the customer journey map need to be in the product, because the product may not support the entire customer journey. The product may only focus on one area of the customer journey, for example, where there is a bigger pain point, a bigger need, or a bigger opportunity. But the point is the customer journey map can be a great source to understand what are the user steps for your product journey map. So when you put all of that together, the product journey map becomes this nice, complete plan where you have the user persona, the core hypothesis, the pre, during, and post experiences, and all the steps in the journey. And now is a matter of defining the features that you want to prioritize at each step. To share an example, I went ahead and created a complete product journey map for the Slim Watch. So at the top, here are the personas. In green, Fit Mary, the ones to run a marathon. In pink, Couch Potato, Joe, the wants to develop better sleep pattern. The hypothesis is if we nudge people to be more active, they will feel rewarded. For the steps, I'm taking the steps I shared before. For the features, I have prioritized some features specifically: create account, set up personal preferences, track the heartbeat, track the number of steps, ensure the heart rate. These are in green because they map to Fit Mary, the user persona that I want to prioritize. Whereas the pink ones, they are not priorities because I chose not to prioritize the Couch Potato Joe experience. We will cover it. We think there is an opportunity there in the market, but probably is not a key priority. So we will cover that in future releases. That's why the pink stickies are at the bottom. And so now that I have the blue line that divides the top to the bottom, I have a few features, not that many actually, if you take a look at this map, that I can build to test and validate my MVP. And that's a great place to start because, again, it creates focus and creates alignment with the stakeholders. All right, so there was this simulation on a real product idea. Let me go back to the other screen. Here we go. And I want to share a few more things with you. So some advanced tips I shared during the simulation. Tip number one, identify your user personas and then prioritize which persona you want to focus on. Because again, we are not going to support all the users all at the same time. Tip number two, be clear about the product hypothesis that you need to test. This is why you're building an MVP. You need to be clear about what is the hypothesis so you can actually test it and validate it. Number three, use a customer journey map to identify the needs and pain points of your customers and then build the steps in your journey. And then number 4, expand the product journey map with the pre and the post phases, so you can build a more complete user experience and a more complete product for your customers. This is the complete product journey map for the Slim watch that I shared before. And if you want to learn more, I want to share a couple of things. The first thing is there is a link here and there is a QR code you can scan. I offer on my website, I offer some guidance on how to create a product journey map, and I also offer a downloadable PDF, which is a how-to guide. It's a complement to this video, and you can download it and use it for your own product. And also, if you want to really learn more and expand your knowledge and expertise as a product manager with advanced practices, advanced tools and templates, I run the Certified Product Innovation Professional. This is an advanced training program for product managers, and is a 5-week hands-on experiential program. So you actually work on a real product idea for 5 weeks. And as you work on it, you're going to apply all the different templates, techniques, and tools that we learn in the class. And you're going to get coaching and feedback from the trainer, that's me, to help you improve. At the end of the program, you get the CPIP certification from Spark Engine that, of course, you can add to your resume, and that will be a testament to your improved skill set. Again, here the link here on the screen and the QR code that you can scan with your phone. All right, I hope it was useful. I look forward to stay connected. Please reach out if you have any questions. Have a good day. Bye-bye.